Okay. Are we good?
Good.
Good.
All right.
Hi.
Here we go. Well,
Yay.
Jenny, thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this with me. This is
Of
fun.
course. Yeah, let everybody know a little bit of your fitness background and where you located.
So I say Vancouver, BC, but I'm just in Richmond, BC. So it's just like a suburb of Vancouver.
Gotcha. Okay.
Canadian. Love it up here. It's a lovely city to live in if you're an athlete. Lots of things to do. You can swim in the ocean, you can hike a mountain, you can do that on the same day.
What's the weather like up there right now?
Today it's a little overcast, but like this is okay. It's not raining right now. I think we have, yeah. I
Yeah.
understand. We're called Raincouver for a reason.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just outside of Seattle, and so I think we deal with a lot of the same stuff, and it's an overcast day. It was beautiful yesterday.
It's hot. Like I walk home from the gym and I was like sweating buckets.
Yes, it was a gorgeous day, and today it's a little cloudy, a little chilly. But anyway, I love doing these, as I told you before
Yeah.
we clicked on the camera. Love doing these Linchpin member interviews, cover people from all walks of life, all different parts of their fitness journey, the whole nine yards. And you, when we initially started chatting, said that somebody's like, "Hey, you should reach out to Pat and
Yes.
share a bit of your story." And I read your story, and we're going to get into it, but my initial response after reading like the blurb that you wrote me was this poor woman has shouldered more than her fair share of hardship that one should be dealt, and but I would never guess it just based upon your wonderful, positive, glorious posts and interactions in the Facebook group. So, um,
I think it's just a matter of like I had two options, right? And I think it was the option to either go the route that maybe everyone expected me to go, which is that very dark route. And
mm.
blames me, or I could have just kind of dug myself out of that hole and landed where I am now.
And when you start to tell people about your story, do you start, even right off the bat, you had a challenging set of circumstances just growing up, with
Sure.
parents and addiction and things like that. What
Oh, you froze, I think. That's okay. You'll come back.
was in?
Pardon me.
You,
Say that
oh, you're frozen. I got you now.
Yeah, I got you back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me a bit about your childhood there, because you said,
Sure.
you'd be a bit rough with your parents starting off.
So first of all, I'd like to like outside of my parents, my family is pretty average, but I was born to a mother who maybe shouldn't have had children, and my family knew this, thank God.
Mm.
She was just severely mentally ill. Like, there's mental health issues, and then there's like, if you saw her walking down the street, you probably would have done a double take.
Okay. Gotcha.
It like emanated from her, which was quite sad for her, I suppose. And my father was just a party guy, and he left when I was around like 6 months to 1 year old. I can't ask either of them now. But he was an alcoholic my whole life up until I was about 24, and I'm 43 now.
Okay.
So I didn't know him. I saw him at Christmas, and that was it.
So with that individual as your father, then the issues that you said your mom dealt with,
Right.
at what point in time did somebody from the outside say,
Oh.
like, you're not going to raise this girl, like something else needs to happen?
So it's so complicated, but I'll when in my baby book actually there's a statement from my mother saying when I was like 6 months old that she had to leave me with my grandparents because she just couldn't do it anymore.
Gotcha.
From that point on, I was back and forth. Like I think we know a lot more now about mental health, but back then we really didn't. So my mother would often, like I'd often just wake up and she just wouldn't be there. She would be in the psych ward somewhere, and then my grandparents
Mm.
would get me, and then I'd be with them for an extended period of time. And then we lived with them for a long period of time. And then eventually, yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, but it wasn't, that's not really great for a child to be back and forth. Like,
No, no. Children like structure and routine and things like that. You know, what was your understanding as a young girl as to what was going on, or was just this just, when you're young, sometimes whatever you're dealing with, you assume that this is normal and this is how
norm.
kids are raised.
It didn't really occur to me that something was like wrong until I was probably about 11. I
Mm,
think I thought like my grandparents were just lovely people, and my grandmother is still with us. She's lovely. Um, and through them, in those moments, I had a regular childhood. So I don't think I ever questioned it, but I never wanted to go back.
gotcha. Okay.
No,
Okay.
or vividly, like, please God, no, don't send me back there.
And you said on top of the mental illness that your mother also dealt with some addiction issues?
Later in life. So,
Oh, later in life. Okay.
after I had my son, so I have a 15-year-old son. When he was about 3, we discovered that my mother had a fentanyl and morphine addiction prescription,
Mm,
but was still abusing the medication,
gotcha. Okay.
like the morphine especially. And then it's just so hard to explain because I was always back and forth. So I have all this information about my mother, but it's all horrible information, unfortunately. And it's just, yeah, it's a lot.
The mental illness on your mother's with your mother, do you have any sense of what it was? Because I've got some personal
Sure.
uh, interaction and relationships with this topic as well, who are affected very directly by it. And with some people, it seems like there could be something that happened from when they were very young and has always been that way. But I was also interested to learn that, there are some people that just almost like develop it later in life, so to speak, after years being what people would never have assumed that would have manifested.
So, um, if you look at my mother's childhood, she has 2 other siblings, really lovely childhood. There was no abuse, nothing, like her parents were wonderful, and she will have said that. But back then, um, we, I guess we as a society didn't really know what to do with mental illness. So it would appear that my mother grew up pretty normal, but
Mm-hmm.
we always had some mental illness that was like hereditary that no one ever caught because it just wasn't a thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
She was 19. So before she had me, she got married to somebody and he was abusive. And then that sort of like opened the
Interesting.
thing.
Okay. Yeah, I've been exposed closely to another situation that is actually strikingly similar to that of an abusive relationship exposing something that was maybe just under the surface, but that was the catalyst for it to just
Yeah.
take an absolute life of its own. What, not to jump around in the story, but what, and you said she's passed now, but later on in life, what was your relationship with her, or I guess for lack of a better way to say it, relationship. And the reason that I ask that is I'm thinking back to, again, my own family tree and whatnot. And, mental illnesses, like if somebody's got a legit mental illness,
Mhm.
they didn't choose that.
No.
And so their behavior, although it could be miserable to be around and disruptive and potentially violent, like and all these things, I've seen some people that have to relate with that individual hold it personally against them as if that person is doing it intentionally and is in control of their actions and words and thoughts and all this. And other people give them a whole bunch of other grace and be like, this person's driving me up an absolute tree, but I know that they're acting illogically and saying these horrible things, whatever, because they're not thinking clearly in their right mind. And, and it's just, it is what it is. The people that are affected by it can have a total wildly different takes and reactions to that individual's behavior. So what was your relationship like, or what category did you put your mom in as you got older and kind of had a sense of what was truly going on?
Uh, so For me, I understand mental health and I think it's a reason for a number of things. I don't think it's an excuse.
Mm,
And especially even if someone is unable to control what's going on, if it's toxic to me, I have to leave. Like it's not,
sure, sure, absolutely.
oh no, you poor thing, I have to stay here and take this. So
Correct, correct. You don't need to just willingly be a target.
no, so my relationship was on and off. We had some good like moments, like months here and there, but my mom's mental health was rough. So she was like schizophrenic essentially, with borderline personality disorder and an anxiety disorder on top of that. She was not nice. She's not.
Hmm.
Um, she also she gave up a long time ago, and I noticed that, and I just didn't really want to give her the time of day because I was so pissed off about her inability to just better herself, like ever at all.
Mm,
Would have been okay, like any sort of like anything to try to better
sure.
as opposed to live in it and affect those around her negatively. I might have had a bit more respect for her.
And that's the big challenge, right? I mean, I'm thinking about again this individual that I have in my mind, and it's like everyone around this individual, thinking clearly, knows what should happen, knows what should be done, knows the environment that they should be in to get on a better path, whether there should be medication involved, all this stuff, and you know, I don't know how it is up there in Canada, but down here in the US, like we can't force that upon anybody.
No, you can like file some sort of thing, but the person has to be like really like out of their mind
Hmm.
in order to force them, or they have to have claimed suicide on some level, and then you can kind of they can keep you can they can, hospital can keep you if you've claimed that you're suicidal.
So through all this time, you were primarily raised by your grandparents, right? So you credit them with, you know, giving you an actual shot in this world.
Yes, without my grandmother, I would probably be dead.
That's probably not an understatement by any stretch of the imagination.
I really,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, as we sit here, you know, so you've got, you know, that going on with your mom and your dad. You said your dad was also addicted to alcohol, correct?
Yes, luckily, I was never around it. Like
Out of the picture, right?
I have never seen my dad intoxicated. He is gone now. He the difference between my parents is my mother traumatized me a lot, and my father never did. He wasn't around, but at least he never like I have no trauma from my dad.
What the trauma that you endured from your mother, how, and I don't mean to have any of these questions come off
No,
as ignorant or insensitive. I just don't know. So, you know, like in pursuit of trying to figure it out, I might ask a dumb question. Um, how do you carry that or deal with it or compartmentalize, or maybe you shouldn't do that, like to actually now be able to just get up every day and function in society?
oh, how do I function? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Um, I think it's different than somebody who has never experienced extreme trauma. Um, my life is pretty calculated every day. Like I do very much the same thing every.
Mhm.
I am medicated.
But but a routine is for you is critical.
A routine is pretty critical. I can look outside of a routine a little bit, but I need mostly the like everything sort of in place.
Structure.
Yes, I need structure.
And does fitness play a role in you being a happy and healthy individual? And if so, what?
So I think we as human beings all need coping mechanisms, regardless of what has ever happened to you. It could be the smallest little thing or like something really monumental. Maybe you take a bath. Maybe you know what I mean? Some people
Hmm.
choose some really dark paths with her
Right, sure.
rhythms, but I have chosen fitness as my main coping mechanism.
Have you always chosen fitness, or were there more unhealthy roads you went down before you got to the fitness one?
So I'm 43 now. So my 20s were interesting. I have never had any sort of addiction. I always feel like my grandfather passed when I was 14, and I always feel like he's been with me because I
Oh, I just lost you. I think I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Oh, have you got me at all? I can't hear you at all. You cut out.
There, sorry.
Oh, now I got you. Okay, the
Yeah,
last
sorry,
thing
my son turned on his headphones and
oh.
the Bluetooth.
The
Um,
last thing I heard you say was when your grandfather passed away at 14, you felt like he's still with you.
yeah, and I always just felt like the situations where it could have gone really awry, especially in my 20s, because I guess I was a bit of a party girl. I always just left before it or got out of those situations before they really took a turn to where I kind of wasn't coming back from them.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God.
And then what led you to from the party scene to the fitness scene? Because that's
Well,
a
I had my son
jump.
at 28, which was
Okay.
planned. He was great. It was a perfect age, but then you're sort of forced to stop doing those things, which is fine. And then I just kept started going to the gym. It was really basic, like going to the gym, having absolutely no idea what I'm doing. One sec. Yeah,
Oh, no worries.
there we go. And then I think I know from watching my mother that my coping mechanisms need to be healthy.
Mm,
They can't be morphine, for example. That's not good.
right, right. The
Right.
slippery slope.
Hmm?
I said it can be a slippery slope if if you have,
And
if
it can
someone has
be. It's
certain
easy.
a proclivity to allow themselves one indulgence, then you get used to that, then you want to outdo it with the next indulgence, and then outdo it, and all of a sudden you could be going down a road you don't want to go down.
You got it. And I noticed that road was pretty easy to take. I've lost a lot of people I went to high school with to drugs and alcohol. That's an easy road, and it would have been a road that nobody would have blamed me for.
Mm, hmm.
But I didn't. After my son, I was like, oh, I really need to gather myself here.
And was it always CrossFit, or did you start doing
Mm.
sort of different deal?
I started bodybuilding. I've done a few shows a long time
Okay.
ago. And I'm a trainer and a nutritionist, so the whole community was just like around often, like bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting. Like I heard all about all of it all the time.
Okay.
And then comical, every day I would walk to work as a trainer. So I'd walk to work, I'd do my bodybuilding prep and I'd work. And then I would walk by a CrossFit gym like every day.
And just kind of look at
And I was
what's
like,
going
this, and a
on
friend of
there.
mine went there and she would post stuff. And initially I was like, this is ridiculous. Who in
I
their
know
right
that
mind would
feeling.
do this?
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I'm like, this is absolutely bonkers. I'm not doing this. You don't look well at all.
You guys are a bunch of crazy people. I see you laying on the ground.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why are you walking upside down? It absolutely doesn't make any sense.
It's
Uh,
something to pull
but
you in little by little, huh?
and I don't totally remember like why I walked in there, but I did. And I started, what year is it? I started in 2017 doing CrossFit. And it was like immediately addictive because of it's so varied.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's different all the time. Like this doesn't get boring.
And then when did you get bit by the competitive bug? Because you like to compete and throw down too, right?
Oh my God, I've competed so much. It's absolutely ridiculous. So 2020 hit, like so COVID hit, and I was like, well, I guess I'll start training for a triathlon because everything's closed.
Nice. Okay.
And I can run, I can bike, and then I could swim until that disappeared, and then there was no more swimming. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like I love to compete. I figured that out during bodybuilding. And then once COVID sort of, not disappeared, but wasn't so like,
Right.
I like dove headfirst.
Gotcha. What are some of your most fond, competition memories that just put a big smile on your face?
Wow. So sure. So my dad died, and 3 days later, I had to compete. It was a partner competition. I was obviously not well, but we won.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I remember going in there thinking, none of you have a chance.
Mm.
Like this week has been a fucking nightmare,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to win this competition, and I did
You had, or you're obviously operating on a different gear or different level than the other people who
something. I
were.
was like, I don't even know. But I just have so many fond. Like there's been so many competitions. I'm sure if I wrote them all down, it would be over 50 at this point. Um,
Oh, that's really cool.
so
Uh,
many team competitions, but now I'm doing individual competitions. Like
okay.
this is what I want for myself. So
And the gym is your happy place, training is your happy place,
yes.
Does it matter what the workout is, or there's some workouts that make you smile a bit more than others?
Oh, well, Pat.
Speak
Yeah.
freely.
Anything that's like, so a good example would be like acid bath. Like, no.
Right, sure.
Like, so like machines, like constant machine work,
Mm-hmm.
no smiles.
No smiles,
I
gotcha.
love gymnastics and I love a bar,
Okay.
like a thruster, a clean, a snatch, like absolutely any of it.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just a wonderful outlet. I mean, a large part of, I work out every day, obviously, to be for the physical aspects as well, but for the between the ears health, I think it's one of the most important things that I do every day is just a pressure relief,
Yes.
a stress relief when I work out. Doesn't matter what the load or the time is, like I got to get in my workout, and once I do, I'm just a better human being to be around, quite
Yes.
frankly. Like it's better for everyone involved in my life when I get my workout in,
I feel that as well. Yes.
you know? And if I don't, I'm just grumpy, and I wish I could say that I don't let it affect me, but I do. It does.
Oh, I do as well. Yeah, it's rough.
It's one of those things that I absolutely need. What, from walking by and doing that CrossFit gym, what eventually led you to the Linchpin community?
I think I followed you guys on social media for some time, and
Okay.
everyone was always like, the linchpin workouts are like a nightmare. They're so hard.
I was going to say, but that, you're an interesting case. I'm very open and honest about this, is especially coming from the competitor side of the house, where traditionally it's a lot of volume, and
Mhm.
we're by design a minimalist program. It would be interesting that somebody with the competitive streak was like, yeah, I'm gonna check out this minimalist approach.
So I find, yeah, that's interesting you say minimalist because I find that if I can put it all together, like do the Metcon or whatever, and then the accessory work, and then also throw something in like handstand walking practice or something, it
Hmm.
takes like 2 or 3 hours for me to get it all done.
Yeah, you could draw it out if you wanted to, like that accessory work definitely being, like optional for sure. But yeah, you could do that if you so desired. I guess you could ratchet up the dial there.
And sometimes I'll change things. Like I don't really have to work on burpees necessarily. I don't hate
Mhm.
them completely, but maybe sometimes I'll throw something else in, like a heavy rope double under instead,
Nice.
because I know that's not something I do very often.
And where are you working out these days? Is it the garage? Is it an open gym somewhere? Or
Ah,
where's fitness home?
I work out at CrossFit Sea Level. I actually work out with Emily Rolfe.
Okay. Very
She's
cool.
been a member there for a number of years.
Nice.
So
That's
when I say work out with Emily Rolfe, I mean beside Emily
she's in the
Rolfe.
same geographical location.
Pardon me?
I said she's in the same location.
And it's a small gym. Like we're always, there's like three of us really, like girls that do the open gym, and we're always together.
Nice. That's very cool. Well, I'm curious, maybe your story, I'm sure it's going to resonate with some people who maybe haven't been through the exact same thing, but similar enough that what you're saying speaks to them a bit. What would be your recommendations or lessons learned for, individuals that have dealt with, rough upbringings, traumatic experiences, whatever you wanted to say
Mm.
to try to find a healthy outlet where potentially they're in a phase where it just seems overwhelming and they can't escape.
So first of all, my one of the only reasons I'm still like here and able to do what I'm doing is because I've had hours upon hours of therapy, and I
Mm,
highly recommend that. That is not some like you can't I can't just say go to the gym or go do these certain things. until you
Hmm.
figured out like why you can't do them in the first place.
That makes sense.
You sort of have to figure out who you are before you even decide what those coping mechanisms for your life are going to look like, why you're doing what you're doing.
No, that makes sense. I mean,
So my
there's a reason
advice
that
is to
professionals exist.
kind of let go of that potential ego that's in the way, like, and just seek some sort of help in whatever way that is for you. But I also like fitness as a whole, I know is like my coping mechanism, and I'm doing all these competitive things, but everyone has to move in some manner. So I also recommend like just walk. You don't have to try to figure out how to walk upside down.
Sure. Yeah, go mountain biking. Like
Yeah,
just
anything. Like I hike a lot. I live in Vancouver. Of course I hike. It's
right.
lovely.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, like I see your posts every single solitary day in the private Facebook group. I read them, comment on them,
Yes,
like
thank you.
you are one of the individuals that is just a positive light
Oh,
in
thank you so
in
much.
in the community. And before you had emailed me and kind of let me into your world a little bit, I never would have guessed, some of the things that you've dealt with. So, I guess just from the bottom of my heart, thank you
Of
for
course.
being who you are in the community.
Of course.
And yeah, wish you the best. And if you find yourself in the Seattle area, let me know.
You know what? My best friend lives in just outside of Seattle with her husband.
Okay.
So
It could
it's not that
potentially
weird that I
happen.
might be down there. And to be completely honest, it's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, it's not that far at all. But
I'm like really close to the border.
yes, yeah, you know exactly where you are. We've
But I'm
driven
actually
through.
doing the Wada Tier Wadapalooza this year. So
Oh, nice.
I'll be in the United States.
Okay, well, we wish you luck. And once
Thanks.
again, just thanks for sharing your story. I
Of course.
appreciate it,
Thanks for
Jenny.
calling.
All right, have a good day.
You as well. Thanks, Pat.